at the Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl party, after the first two quarters, are the TVs going to be on the halftime show with Bad Bunny or the halftime show with Kid Rock?
I think the president would much prefer a Kid Rock performance over Bad Bunny. I must say that.
All right, buckle up, Buttercups, because we're diving headfirst into the latest manufactured outrage cycle, the Super Bowl halftime show, featuring none other than global sensation Bad Bunny. Apparently, some folks absolutely spiraling. We're talking pearl-clutching, flag-waving, what about the children-level dramatics? And honestly, it's just chef's kiss for content. I mean, who knew a little Spanish lyrics could do so crazy things to so many people, threatening to the very fabric of America? Let's roll the tape and see what fresh hell they've conjured up this time.
I don't know. I mean, like, would he? Because you'll notice the footage is blurred here because it's footage from the Super Bowl halftime show, which Trump was in fact watching at his Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl party. But honestly, can you blame him? Can you blame him? Okay, because that guy, super talented. And I like a dance party when I can get it. And that halftime show was a dance party. But there was more to it than simply a performance or a dance party. There were some messages there that I want to talk about a little bit. And then of course, we'll discuss various people losing their minds about it, because if the media isn't obsessed with manufactured culture wars, what else would they report on? You know, would they report on the various journalists who have been slaughtered by Israel and Gaza? No, they can't be bothered by that. You know, would they report on Epstein's obvious ties to Israel? No, they wouldn't do that. Thankfully, we have drop site news to pour over the Epstein files and give us that information. So instead, it's just a multi-day news cycle of, oh my God, a Puerto Rican singer who's like a total sensation globally is gonna perform at the Super Bowl. Conservatives are upset. But are they really? Like, I am curious, like, are most conservatives upset about it? Or is it just a few conservative media figures who are making a big deal about it? I thought the Super Bowl was boring.
Okay, hold on a minute. Are most conservatives upset about it? Or is it just a few conservative media figures who are making a big deal about it? That right there is $1 million question, isn't it? Because let's be real, the outrage industrial complex thrives on this stuff. They need a boogeyman, a cultural battle to fight, because heaven forbid they actually talk about things that matter. Like, you know, I don't know, the rampant corporate greed crushing working families, or the fact that our infrastructure is crumbling faster than a stale cookie. Now, let's focus on a pop star singing in Spanish. It's easier to whip up fear and division over something so utterly trivial. It's like they've got a controversy-o-matic machine in their office, and it just spits out Bad Bunny sing in Spanish every time they're bored. And the worst part, so many people fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker. They see a headline, a fiery tweet from some pundit, and suddenly they're convinced the sky is falling because a Puerto Rican artist dared to showcase his culture on a global stage. God forbid that.
The game itself was a snooze fest. The only time I woke up was when the performance was happening because it was fun. And I guess people are upset because he was singing in Spanish. I got news for you. There are, 54 million Americans whose first language is Spanish. There are more Americans who speak Spanish on top of that. So when the US colonizes Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is now a US territory, and everyone there speaks Spanish, why is it offensive to hear Spanish songs during the Super Bowl? And also, for me personally, I get it. Like, if you don't like reggaeton, you don't like that kind of music, that is your right. There's nothing wrong with not enjoying that type of music. But for me personally, when I hear music, there's all sorts of songs that I have like on my Spotify playlist, foreign music, French, Spanish, all sorts of languages. It's about how that art makes you feel, right? And when I listen to Bad Bunny, I feel pretty damn good, okay? I wanna dance. And that's what you got during the halftime show. It was amazing. So first, let's kind of break down his performance, which was performed entirely in Spanish again, and was filled with some pretty powerful messages. So toward the end of the set, he yelled in English, God Bless America, and then proceeded to name all of the countries from the Americas, both North and South, while their flags paraded him off the field. There was no negativity in his performance, so there was no like harsh political messaging. There was nothing aggressive. It was all about unity, peace, love, celebrating cultures, celebrating the fact that we live in a multicultural country. That's our strength. Like I don't understand people who don't celebrate that. Like we're not a homogenous society. When I go to New York and I see all the different restaurants and businesses and all the different types of people from all over the world who come together for this incredible city, to make this city as incredible as it is, I feel pride about that. But for whatever reason, it seems to really offend some people, and I just don't get it. So there was more from his performance. First of all, he performed all the songs that I like, which is great. The New York Times says the performance was a love letter to Puerto Rico, featuring a sugarcane field, a wedding seemingly officiated on stage, a New York-style street scene complete with a bodega and a Pan-American parade. The show spanned country and city, family and hemisphere, work and play, and dancing everywhere. It placed Bad Bunny's beloved Puerto Rico at the center of a communal celebration where vintage salsa and traditional bomba and plena easily segued out of reggaeton and dembo, which I don't know what dembo is, but am I saying that correctly? Okay, he's eating, and I asked him a question. Well, it's DEMBOW, dembo. Okay. Anyway, it was great. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. Now, Bad Bunny was summoning a Latin heritage across generations, one that recognized hard work, cane cutting, meaning sugar cane cutting, electric grid repairs, alongside the good times workers sweated to earn. Okay, so I got a little bit emotional watching the halftime show because it made me think of my own family. So it felt like I was at Noche Buena. That's what Noche Buena's like. Whenever me and my husband go visit our family in Florida, and there's just celebration, there's dancing, there's this love of family, there's the inclusion of children. It's just like such a lovely, heartwarming, and wholesome experience. And to see that on stage and to see that during the Super Bowl was a really great feeling. Like I loved it. It made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So there were a lot of kids who were part of it. Yes, there was a lot of ass shaking too. How could it be a Super Bowl halftime party if there isn't some ass shaking? And look, for people who don't like that type of music or are aggrieved at hearing a foreign language, Turning Point USA offered an alternative, if you will, and different strokes for different folks. But it does kind of remind me a little bit of, at one point, the left kind of wanted to silo itself from Twitter and go to other, I think Blue Sky is the social media platform that they kind of turn to so they can silo themselves from the rest of society. And I don't think that's smart. I think it's important for us to share society, share culture, kind of be in the same reality. Dividing ourselves and siloing ourselves, I don't think is beneficial. But if you want to listen to, well, I don't want to say listen to Kid Rock sing because he was lip syncing. But if you're into Kid Rock, great, watch Kid Rock. There were other performers, by the way, I did tune in. There were some country singers that I actually thought performed really well. And that should be celebrated too. There's nothing wrong with that. But the offense that people are feeling over an incredibly positive, warm guy, a good person who is a superstar internationally, one of the biggest artists of our time. You're losing your mind because he's singing in Spanish. I personally don't get it. So we're gonna, by the way, show you some of the backlash over this in just a minute. But he made zero mention of the Trump administration, zero mention of ICE. Now there were symbolic images and scenes that he's obviously trying to send a message, but he's doing it in a positive way as opposed to an aggressive, in-your-face way. Like it was subtle. It was so subtle that like Piers Morgan, who's Trump's buddy, like defended it pretty aggressively. The Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible though. says Donald Trump. By the way, he posted this on Truth Social exactly at 9 p.m., just as the performance was beginning. I have a feeling that this was like it was a timed post, meaning he had written it earlier for it to go live at a certain time. So he was gonna have the same message no matter what. Like, it didn't matter what Bad Bunny's performance was gonna be. Whether he trashes the administration aggressively, trashes ICE, or does the performance he actually did, we were gonna get the same message from the president. It makes no sense. Is an affront to the greatness of America? No, I think that it's a perfect example of the greatness of America. And doesn't represent our standards of success and creativity or excellence. You have provided cover for a pedophile ring. What are you talking about? What excellence are you referring to? Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. You provided cover for a pedophile ring.
Whoa. Did you just hear that? Nobody understands a word this guy is saying. And the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching this throughout the United States. And then in the very next breath, you provided cover for a pedophile ring? The absolute audacity. This is the classic Trumpian deflection technique. When you're caught with your hand in the cookie jar, or in this case, allegedly covering up for a notorious child sex trafficker like Epstein, you immediately point the finger and scream about something completely unrelated. It's a classic misdirection, a cheap parlor trick, and frankly, it's insulting to anyone with half a brain cell. He wants to lecture us about disgusting dancing and what's appropriate for children? This is the man whose administration actually fought tooth and nail to keep the Epstein files sealed from the public view. The hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. It's not just a bad look, it's a grotesque abandonment of any higher moral ground. This isn't about protecting children. It's about protecting his own insecurities and xenophobia onto a wildly popular audience. And artists in general too, I should add. It's about trying to tear down anything that challenges his narrow, outdated worldview. It's pathetic and it's truly transparent.
You want to talk about what's best for children? You want to talk about children? He wants to talk about children. How about you shut up? How about you don't talk about children? How about you've done nothing to protect children? And you want to talk about how the dancing is very bad for children? This show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day. For what? Pedophile protection? Including the best stock market, and I'm done. Yeah, I'm done reading this comment. I'm not interested. Laura Loomer is a traitor to the country and was also losing her mind about it. I think she should be deported to Israel, and I mean that. I'm not just saying it to insult her. She doesn't like this country. She only cares about Israel, so get the F out. You don't belong here. But I want to go to one other person who was not a fan of the performance. And it's fine to not enjoy the performance, it's not your music, but that's not the point that Megyn Kelly was making when she was on Piers Morgan's show today. Let's hear what she had to say.
We feature English-speaking performers at the quintessentially American event of the Super Bowl. We do Michael Jackson, we do Whitney Houston, we do great bands that love America, like American rap. That's a different situation. This guy who can't stand the country comes out and starts speaking in Spanish, and I'm sure the people in South Florida really enjoyed it. The people in an American territory, Puerto Rico, really enjoyed it. But the people in the heartland had no idea what the hell was happening. We were founded as a Christian nation. We're still a Christian nation. And what we want is somebody up there to celebrate how freaking special this country is.
Okay, Megyn Kelly, just wow. This is a masterclass in fear-mongering and dog whistle politics. Let's unpack this steaming pile of nonsense, shall we? We were founded as a Christian nation. We're still a Christian nation. First off, separation of church and state, anyone? The founders were pretty clear on that one. And last I checked, Puerto Rico, an American territory, is predominantly Christian. So what exactly is your point there, darling? Are they not Christian enough for your refined sensibilities? Then she pivots to the absolute lowest common denominator, illegal immigrants who are raping and molesting our children. This is not just a dog whistle. It's a full-blown siren. It's a disgusting, baseless smear designed to demonize an entire group of people and justify their policy. It's the same old racist trope that's been used for centuries to dehumanize immigrants and justify xenophobia. And the irony, the stunning irony, coming after we just heard about Trump's alleged involvement in the Epstein cover-up. You want to talk about people harming children? Hello? Maybe look inward at the powerful elites who actually do harm children, rather than scapegoating vulnerable immigrant families. It's a classic bait and switch, redirecting their anger for the real perpetrators to a convenient, powerless target. Such ridiculousness.
Not a bunch of people who can't stand us, and over what? Over our desire to get illegal immigrants who are raping and molesting our children out of our country.
The Trump administration isn't getting rapists and molesters out of the country. In fact, the Trump administration has provided cover for rapists of children, actually, by engaging in the Epstein cover-up that would have stood if it weren't for three members of Congress, I should be fair. And that was former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's no longer in office because she stepped down for her role. And you've got Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. They're the ones who kept pushing and pushing and pushing to the point where Congress passed legislation compelling Trump's DOJ to release the Epstein files. But make no mistake about it, Trump fought that tooth and nail every step of the way. You want to talk about rapists? You want to talk about rapists? Our government and Silicon Valley and the financial world very likely littered with child rapists, or at least individuals who are fine with child rape because they remained friends with Epstein, continued doing business with Epstein. So you want to talk about rapists? Maybe we look at the White House first. How about that? Aside from that, I was led to believe that Puerto Ricans are also Christian. Am I mistaken about that? Oh, I'm not mistaken about that. Okay, so I don't know why the topic of Christianity came up in that rant. But one other thing I want to just quickly mention is I get that liberal elites have looked down their noses at middle America, and they're wrong for doing that. I think it's gross. I look at the entirety of this country, and regardless of where you live, I love and value you, I respect you because you're my fellow countrymen and women. That's the way I see it. But why is Megyn Kelly framing this in a way where you're dividing like South Florida and Puerto Rico from the rest of America? This is what I'm talking about when I discuss the very intentional framing by US media people to divide us. Oh, so the Americans living in South Florida don't matter at all? Oh, they might have enjoyed the show, but who cares about them? It doesn't appeal to middle America. And who made Megyn Kelly the representative of middle America? Because considering the popularity of Bad Bunny, I would venture to say there are plenty of folks in middle America who enjoy his music. Now, she might not enjoy it, and that's her right. But here's what I'm super sick of in the age of pedophiles and people who cover for pedophiles in our government and our elite institutions. I don't give a fuck about these manufactured culture wars anymore. You're a grown-ass adult. You're a grown-ass adult. Be a big girl, just turn the TV off and move on with your life. You wanna know how much programming there is on streaming services and network television that I don't enjoy? There's a lot. If I spent my time engaging in a temper tantrum over it, I'd talk about nothing else. But I do this amazing thing called turn off the TV and do something else with your time. And I don't care that he was singing in Spanish. Tens of millions of people in this country had Spanish as their first language. If we don't like having Spanish speakers as part of our republic, maybe we stop colonizing, Spanish-speaking countries like Puerto Rico. But we did do that. So we have an entire territory now of Spanish speakers. They're part of America. And either you accept it or you can keep crying about it. But I am just so sick of the repetition. Every year, it's the same bull crap. every year, it's some controversy over the Super Bowl halftime show, as if we don't have bigger fish to fry. We've got the fish, it's time to fry them, okay? This ain't it. So that's my take on it. I loved it. I thought it was fun. I love to dance. And what I love about him is like, he's unbearably positive. Like, I'm a pessimistic, cold-hearted person, I think. I'm not actually cold-hearted, but I'm pretty pessimistic. He has like this, he injects positivity in everything he does, even in the darkest times. And there's something admirable about that. It takes a lot of mental strength to be able to do that.
So there you have it, folks. Another day, another manufactured outrage over something as benign as the Super Bowl halftime show. It's truly astounding that how much energy these people expend on these things that have absolutely nothing to do or has no matter whatsoever, while ignoring the very real systemic issues plaguing our society. Bad Bunny put on a fantastic, positive, unifying show celebrating culture and joy. And the reaction from the right? Sheer, unadulterated xenophobia and moral panic, all wrapped up in a pretty little bow of hypocrisy. Honestly, if you're still falling for these culture war distractions, you're missing the forest for the trees. Let's focus on actual justice, actual equality, and actual solutions instead of getting caught up in their ridiculous theatrics. So tell me, what do you think? Did Bad Bunny's performance offend your delicate sensibilities? Or are you like me, just ready to dance and celebrate the beautiful diversity of our world? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more truth-telling, and hit that notification button so you don't miss our next takedown. Stay woke, stay loud, and keep fighting the good fight.